Hello, First Pres family. Wanted to provide an update to you on the reopening of our church campus on June 14th. I hope most of you by now have watched Mike's video which came out last week as a way of communicating that message to you. I plan just to give you a few highlights of what he said and then provide you some additional information as we make these preparations. First and most importantly, I think Mike communicated the need for our return with hearts of unity and humility. We recognize that there are many different ideas and many different preferences and perhaps even some convictions about what this return should look like. Some may have thought that we should have already returned, while others think that returning is still unwise. What we're encouraging you to do, what we're praying for, is that now, and perhaps more importantly now, that we return with hearts of sacrificial love, putting the interest of others above ourselves. My wife Amber sent me an article by Brett McCracken a couple of weeks ago, which I pray as encouragement to you. The title of the article was, "Churches Don't Let the Coronavirus Divide You." So I'd commend it to you to read and to consider in the coming weeks. The second thing that Mike talked about was that first, that our plan is fluid, meaning that it can change. Every day we're keeping up with numbers and thinking through what's best for this congregation, and we'll continue to do so in the weeks ahead. The second thing he said, it's going to come in phases. This is a common word that I'm sure you're hearing with most organizations right now, but we're going to start with one phase, and it's our desire to continue to progress to return to Sunday as we once knew it. Mike did mention just a couple of important facts. As I said, June 14th is the date. We're going to have our 8:30 and 11 o'clock worship service, and the 11 o'clock service will be the service that's live streamed. Right now it's at 10 a.m. It will now be at 11 a.m. on the live stream. Thank you to the over 200 members who have filled out our survey. It's been extremely helpful for us to have this information, and if you've not done so, we would encourage you to take 2 minutes to fill out the survey as we make preparations. Okay, now for just some additional updates as we move forward. The first one is that we mentioned locations. The 3 locations where we're going to simulcast when you arrive here on Sunday is the sanctuary. Of course, you'll be watching it there. And then the 2 other spaces will be St. Andrew's Hall and Harmony Hall. I've got a picture there on the screen. And the sanctuary right now at capacity is about 134. Harmony Hall and St. Andrews are both at 80. So you'll recognize that that's well below their normal capacity. So even on this first opening, we're well below our normal capacity. The second thing to encourage you upon return is you're going to see elders and deacons and leaders in the church around the campus. They're going to be here to meet you, to greet you, and also give you any direction that you may need as well. We've been meeting with both sets of officers in preparation for this day. While there are CDC guidelines we're following, and we're going to post those on the web later this week, 2 that are particularly important that I wanted you to be aware of as you begin to make plans. The first is our child care. In this initial phase, there will not be nursery or children's ministry at the beginning. We recognize this places an additional burden on the many families and young families that we have, and I've talked to the staff, I've talked to the teachers, and they are anxious for their children to return. But in this opening phase, we're going to delay that until perhaps the next phase. The second piece of information is that when you return to the sanctuary and to the campus, the worship service is going to feel different. We'll get more into that a little bit next week, but probably the biggest difference is that initially we're not going to sing as a congregation. I can tell you that after being here for 12 weeks and not hearing your voices, it really makes a difference on even my soul to not have that bolstered energy each week hearing you all sing to the Lord. Well, as we've looked at the different articles and have talked to various people in different churches, we really feel like congregational singing is just not wise at this particular point. So as quickly as we can, we hope for that to return, but just come expecting to realize that upon arrival. The last thing is that when you do come, we are creating some spaces outdoor, some designated spaces for you to greet one another. We do recognize that one of the reasons you're coming here is to see one another. And after the service, there will be these spaces outdoors for you to do just that. On our website, beginning on Wednesday afternoon, there will be a button on the front page that has all information as it relates to reopening. Mike's video will be there, this video will be there, And we're going to begin to post some of the guidelines that will help you as you begin to think of returning. I've talked to many leaders of our church, the officers of our church, the staff on our church, and we are ready. We are so ready for you to come back to the campus, but we want to do so in a way that's safe, celebratory, and worshipful. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, and I'll be back next week with some additional information about the reopening. God bless.